Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered what you're actually looking at? It feels like such a simple question, but the answer completely changes the way you see the night sky. Most people think they're looking at the universe exactly as it is in that moment, almost like peering through a giant window into space. But that's not true at all. Every single star above your head is showing you the past. The light from the moon takes just over a second to reach Earth. Sunlight takes around 8 minutes. But the light from many of the stars you can see tonight has been traveling for hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years before finally arriving at your eyes. Some of those stars may not even exist anymore. They could have burned out or exploded long ago, but because the universe is so unimaginably vast, their final light is still traveling towards us. Every time you stand outside and look up, you're not just looking across space, you're looking backwards through time. The strange thing is that we all know light is fast. It's probably the fastest thing most of us can think of. Turn on a lamp and the room lights up instantly. Flick on your phone torch and the beam appears immediately. It feels as though light arrives the very moment it's created. But space is so ridiculously large that even light struggles to cross it. The sun is almost 150 million kilometers away from Earth, yet its light still takes over 8 minutes to get here. If the sun somehow vanished this very second, we'd carry on living completely normal lives for another 8 minutes before the sky went dark. We'd still see the sun, still feel its warmth, completely unaware that anything had changed. Thankfully, that's never going to happen, but it's a brilliant reminder that information doesn't travel instantly, even at the fastest speed the universe allows. The problem is that our brains were never designed to understand distances like these. We evolved to judge whether a tree was close enough to climb or whether a lion was close enough to run away from. Nobody needed to estimate 40 trillion kilometers while hunting for berries. That's probably why space feels so difficult to picture. Take the moon, for example. It looks close enough that you could almost reach out and touch it. On some nights it appears enormous, hanging low over the horizon like it's just beyond the nearest hill. In reality, it's almost 400,000 kilometers away. Here's a fact that completely changed the way I imagine it. You could line up every single planet in our solar system between the Earth and the Moon and they'd all fit. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, all squeezed into the gap. Suddenly the Moon doesn't seem quite so close anymore. Then you hear about the nearest star beyond our Sun, Alpha Centauri. The name somehow makes it sound like it's just around the corner, but it's over 4 light-years away. Numbers like that don't really mean much because our brains have nothing to compare them to. So here's another way of looking at it. If you got into your car and drove there at motorway speed without ever stopping for fuel, traffic, or sleep, it would take roughly 50 million years to arrive. By comparison, the entire history of human civilization has lasted for only a tiny fraction of that time. Space has a funny way of making every distance on Earth feel wonderfully small. That's what fascinates me most about the universe. Every time scientists discover something new, it isn't just another interesting fact to remember. It completely changes the way we think about our place in everything. We spend so much of our lives worrying about deadlines, awkward conversations, bad haircuts, bills, and whether we've replied to a message quickly enough. Yet we're all traveling through space on a planet that's orbiting the sun at over 100,000 kilometers an hour. At the same time, the sun itself is orbiting the center of the Milky Way, and the Milky Way is hurtling through space alongside billions of other galaxies. Even when you're sitting perfectly still on your sofa doing absolutely nothing, you're moving faster than a fighter jet without even noticing. Most people hear facts like that and come away feeling small. That's understandable. The universe is so enormous that it can make a single human life seem almost insignificant. But I think we've been looking at it the wrong way. The more I learn about space, the more valuable life starts to feel. Out of everything we've discovered so far, this tiny blue planet is still the only place where we've found music, laughter, forests, oceans, dogs chasing tennis balls, birthday cakes, late-night conversations, and people looking up at the stars wondering if anyone else is doing exactly the same thing somewhere else in the universe. That doesn't make Earth ordinary. It makes it unbelievably rare. Maybe that's why I love looking at the night sky. It doesn't remind me how small I am. It reminds me how lucky I am. Every atom in your body was created inside a star billions of years ago. Before there was an Earth, before there were dinosaurs, before there was even a sun, ancient stars lived, exploded and scattered the ingredients that would eventually become everything around us. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, and the oxygen you breathe all began their journey inside stars that died long before our planet even existed. In a very real sense, you're made from the universe itself. You're not just living in it, you're part of it. And somehow, after billions of years of stars being born and dying, planets forming and life slowly evolving, those same atoms ended up becoming someone capable of looking back at the night sky and wondering where they came from. I think that's one of the most beautiful ideas science has ever given us. The universe spent billions of years creating the ingredients that eventually became you, and now, for a tiny moment in its history, it gets to experience itself through your eyes. Once you start thinking about that, it's surprisingly difficult to believe that an ordinary day is ever truly ordinary again.